We are live 364 days a year.
What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get Sushi after Monday Night Raw? What's going on, everybody? We're back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's Off the Air. It is Tuesday, September 30th. We're here to break down NXT and whatever. With Showdown, Showtime, TNA's here. We invited our TNA friends that we had tonight. It's going to be a great show. The Tuesday Night Delight is not here, but more importantly than that, the man, the myth, the legend himself, all the way from Louisville, Kentucky, is here to break this all down with me. And I always forget. Remind us one more time, Driz. What was it again?
Good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in, Dryzzy, a.k.a. the wrestling plug. You don't know it to watch. I got you. And I need to get it put on a shirt. TNA's number one fan. Even though the way they have presented them has looked like absolute trash, I'm still rocking with TNA.
Mr. TNA is in the building, but it's also the guy you should believe in, more importantly. Also, this is a little disappointing. No offense, Zach Minger, but seriously, did you run out of national days? It's just a Tuesday. You could do Taco Tuesday every day. I'm looking for specifics. Is it street tacos? Is it man? And I feel a little bit like that's how tonight's show went. The NXT fans were chanting for the greatest North American who has won the North. It was Kid Lee. Yep, absolutely. Wesley was there. Buenos noches, WR crew. And then I'm number two then. There you go. TNA fans in the building. Let's get right into this because you know what? I've got a few receipts to hand out, Driz. So before we talk about the teams and what happened tonight, I've got a little bit of a bone to pick because we had a Monday. Boy, did we have a Monday. Me, Shad, and Ben. And we talked all about this show and how it could be a TV deal and the number 2 promotion in America. It's possible that TNA could catch them, AEW, and blah, 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 blah. Well, guess where the TV deal is? Nowhere. It doesn't exist. It's a myth. It never happened. They changed the name of tonight's show. Nothing happened. Big old nothing burger. What now? What now? How about that, Ben? How do you like that? You gotta be kidding me here. 700,000 fans, they could do it on the CW on a Wednesday night. Yeah, right. Take that. They had to change the name of the show, and it was still a mess at the end. I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. Now that I have that off my chest, let's actually try to get into this and enjoy the show, Drizzy. So let's talk about this TNA versus NXT stuff. Because we did get something. It wasn't exactly nothing, but it wasn't exactly a TV deal. I'll tell you that much. At the same time, also, we've got teams being named. And we've got Captain Ricky Saints. That obviously pains me to say. He picks Trick Williams, though. Co-captain, there's a little bit of chippiness there. Can they coexist as you would expect? Miles Bourne, who picked up a victory earlier in the show over Josh Briggs, is added to the squad, as well as he's bouncy Javon Evans, who teamed with Leon Slater and picked up a tag team victory earlier in the show as well. On the TNA side, you got Mike Santana picking the squad, and that's Frankie Kazarian, a TNA legend, Moose, and he's going to take the aforementioned X Division champion Leon Slater. As you mentioned, resident TNA fan here, Drizzy, talk to me about this one. It's an interesting matchup. Did not love the way this was announced. It was goofy. You know what it felt like was teams picking dodgeball in elementary school. Mm-hmm. And that was frustrating, man. But give me your thoughts.
I got 2 gripes. One of them is not using using 5 for the teams. Instead, we're just doing 4-on-4, which I understand. Probably for time constraints, they're not going to do that, but I just personally would like to see 5 because there's so much talent on TNA that does not get seen all the time. Like we don't have a Mance Warner on this team. We don't have a Steve Macklin on this team. We don't have Zach Wentz, Trey Miguel. We don't have Myron Reed. Like all these guys that could have been on that men's team that it would have been really nice to see. I don't necessarily hate seeing Leon Slater and Santana and Moose and everything, but I just would like to see a little bit more. And then it just felt so like Clark said, it felt like we're at school and everybody's standing on the wall. Okay, give me Moose. Okay, you taking Moose? I'm taking Javon. Well, you taking Javon? I'm taking Leon. Like it's really kiddish, and it also felt rushed. I don't know if it was rushed because they had like a shit ton of time at the end of it, but I really felt like this could have been presented a whole lot better. And like they've known they were going to be doing this invasion for a while, so I feel like they should have planned it out a little bit better.
Yeah, and that's my problem too. Is I really wanted to like the concept of it, but what was also frustrating is so like they do the classic like picking teams thing, like we said, the dodgeball thing, right?
Mhm.
It's like I've got Moose, I've got right, and they did it where it wasn't one for one. It wasn't I've got so and so, I've got so and so. It was here are my 4, here are my 4, and then the whole roster from both sides is surrounding the ring. Nobody's like upset they didn't get picked. Like
Right.
they're like, we got the best 4. Like logically, it may right. Nobody's out there like, what about me?
Elephant in the room. Matt Cardona didn't get picked, and he's the biggest star out of all the people there at that moment in time.
And he's not even really a TNA guy. He's the indie god, but he's somehow out there. That was the weirdest part to me too. Is I'm like, he's not even a TNA roster talent. He just works there sometimes. Like, and like
I really feel like if you have Matt Cardona, you need to utilize having Matt Cardona.
yeah, it just yeah, it's brutal because I really actually wanted to. I'm not gonna lie, I tried to like it, but it just felt like, honestly, even had they done like a kind of just not to sound like a broken record here, had they done the okay, Ricky gets a pick, and then Santana gets a pick, and maybe a little more of a showdown in the middle. Right? You get like a face off between the picks. My pick's better than yours.
You know
But no,
what?
it was like, this is my team. Okay, now who's yours?
Even as I think about it even more, you kind of knew who they were picking.
Yeah.
It was all basically telegraphed from the moment they said the captains are Ricky and JC. That spot's taken right there because you know Trick isn't going over there, so you already have 2 spots taken right away. So you only got to pick 2 other people.
100%. We've got the Atomic Merp, newest member of the Wrestling Republic crew. With it kind of felt demoralizing a little bit. How they picked each other was worse than dodgeball. Yeah, it did. And then even DCX Warlords here with we don't have High Rise on our NXT team, or even there's not.
Like I said, there's on both sides. There's a lot of talent that aren't going to get seen in this.
That's the weirdest part to me too. Is then all the talent is out there, and so the teams get picked, and all the talent that didn't get picked is like, well, I'm still on the team, right? Like, what do you mean? It's not like 30 on 30 roster versus roster. I was thrown by that aspect. Like, yeah, it was kind of an okay, cool visual, but we've seen them all fight. We've seen everybody fight between the two rosters like multiple weeks now in a row. It's like there's no end game to that. You can't even really tell who's fighting who or why. Why do they care?
And then what next week is the women's Survivor Series match, the men's Survivor Series match. I
was gonna name the women's one next if you wanted me to.
We can go right into that.
Yeah, let's go right into that. Let's just get this segment out of the way, and then we got all kinds of different stuff to talk about. But let's talk about so the women's teams were picked, same exact format. That was the other odd part. So they picked the men's teams, then it was like pause, mic handoff. The same thing with the women's teams pre-brawl. And I thought JC and Kalani were just put in a horrible position here. did their absolute best to deliver their teams. JC Jane goes with Sol Ruka. I love the way she mentioned the finisher. I thought that was awesome. Like
They introduced their teams way better than the men did.
I thought so too, other than we both did crack up at she said 2 words and then gave us 4 about Jada Parker, but either way. But then we had Lola Vice and then Kalani Jordan, which I also find interesting. So you have the TNA Men's World Champion on the NXT team, but the NXT rostered member Kalani Jordan, that's the Knockouts champion, is the captain of the women's team. Just an odd juxtaposition with no explanation.
I'm curious to know if that has to do with Dana not being able to wrestle.
That would be my assumption. That would be my assumption.
Yeah.
That would be the most logical, I think, route that you get there. And if that's the case, then also we very much wish the best to Ash Battle against Dana Brooke, no doubt. Like that injury's brutal, and she's on the run of her career, no question. But I do love we got a great tag team. We got Jess McKay and we got Cassie Lee. We got the Inspiration, formerly known as the Iconics. I love it. I just love seeing these two in the ring together. I think they're awesome. I love that they're in this match. And then I loved the little half slip from Kalani Juka. Nope. We got Mara Shade, right? Shade. I'm just saying the slight slip by Kalani when saying Mara's name, I loved. She got the J-A-K out before she said it. You know what I mean? Driz, I think this is going to be a fun one. I agree with you, though. Like we said before, it was better announced than the men's.
This is one that definitely another one that could be benefited by 10, by having 5 on each team, because yes, you have Mara Shade, yes, you have the Inspiration, yes, you have Kalani, but at the exact same time, the NXT women's roster having Jada Parker, and if you were to do this, you'd have to add Lash Legend to this. The fact that you possibly get former tag partners facing off against each other, that would be money. That would be something to pull people in. The NXT Women's Division team is very good, though. So Ruka should be everybody's number 1 draft pick. You're goofy if you do not make her your first pick when you're creating a team. And then to also sit there and have Lola Vice and Jada Parker, 2 absolute scrappers, very good choices. Honestly don't think you can make any other better choices other than adding a Lash Legend, or if you wanted to add a Zarya or a Jordan Grace. But other than that, I think the women's teams are a little bit better prepared. I believe they're a little bit better. They were definitely better announced. And the match should probably be a whole lot better than the men. I'm more excited about the women's one than the men's one anyway. I feel like more stories are told in that women's division than there are in the men's.
I think so too. I mean, I still feel like this main event segment was a mess. I feel like this entire
It definitely
changing
was.
the name of the show. We all know why.
Oh my god, I cannot stand that.
It was one of those things where like it already put like a blanket over it, and then next thing you know, you're just like, what is this really about? I thought it was a much bigger deal than we're gonna get a 4-on-4 match. And I'm not saying that I don't like pro wrestling. Like I sound like I'm whining, but at the same time, I thought that there was something bigger at play here, and there was just
I'm hoping so I'm hoping that this kind of goes the same route as the original Invasion went. Yeah, the original Invasion, yes, they had the pay-per-view Invasion, but it went on for a span of different months. Like I think they had a No Mercy in there. I think it didn't end until like a Survivor Series.
Yeah.
So hopefully this like will go a few more months. Maybe let it go to the Rumble at least, or whatever pay-per-view PLE we're doing for Rumble.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. There's got to be something bigger if it's gonna last that long. Yeah. It has to be that TV deal thing that Ben mentioned, or something like that, because I just don't see it. what was different other than they just addressed that TNA and NXT, there's a ton of crossover. There's been crossover and appearances on both sides for 2 months.
Yeah.
Like the two of the champions, the two world champions are from NXT.
In fact, it can't even be 2 months. It's been going on for a couple of years now, a year now, because I was at a TNA show last year where they had NXT stars in the Ultimate X match.
Yeah, it's just like to me, something's got to give here.
We got to do better. We got to do better, y'all.
I think so for sure. Ironically, the show kicked off with Lash and Jada Parker. And so we saw Jakara Jackson, aka Mara Shade, or now known as Mara Shade, and then we also saw Lash Legend taking on Jada Parker and taking a loss. This was a fun match, no doubt. Jada ends up on the team, but what were your thoughts on the match?
Of course, my heart was breaking watching Lash and Jada go heads up like this. These are two of my favorites on this roster, and they're just beating the living shit out of each other, and I love it. I don't know what it is about big fight feels like this with Jada, but she always just brings an aura that everybody else steps up to. It's like you have to go hands to hand with her. Like you are not gonna just be in the ring with her and expect like an easy match. It's not an easy night facing Jada Parker, and I do love that she's bringing the nastiness out of Lash. So they're 1-1 now. So we gotta get the third match now. I'm excited to see that. Hoping that it happens at Halloween Havoc and it's like a big fight, not just like a last woman standing match. Man, I feel like that would be
something. Stipulation is exactly what I was about to say, Driz. I'm on the exact same page there. Like it's got to be some sort of a maybe even an I quit.
Yeah,
if you want, yeah, right? Either or. I'm cool with either.
Yeah.
No
underground. I feel like Lola Vice has underground all sewed up. That's her baby now.
It doesn't really fit either one's style. Underground for them.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. No, I think for Lash, I think either an I quit or a last woman standing. I'm all over. The other thing though is I feel like I quit because of how great Jada is on the mic. The yelling at Lash to quit would just be so good. Right,
the little in-ring stuff, yes. Those are the little things that Jada does very well.
Yeah, I think it's like that would fit her strengths in a way. And I actually even think Lash could sort of match that energy in an I quit scenario where they could really lock us in because I'm cool with last woman standing, right? That's always confusing. I keep wanting to say last man standing. I'm like, either way, you know what I mean?
But what's crazy though? It's easier to say in TNA than it is in NXT.
It is.
TNA is just last knockout standing. That rolls off your fucking tongue.
It's so easy. Yes. 1,000 Dryzzy. Thank you. That is the code of the century. Like it's so much easier. Last knockout standing, right? But then
but last women, like, Jesus.
It gets me every single time. No, but yeah, either or. I'm cool with both of those. Let's keep it rolling though. This one was maybe I hate to say this, it's arguably the highlight of the night, and it's Ethan Page because you were making fun of me when we were watching it in the pre-show.
Yes.
But Mustafa Ali, great promo, great back and forth. We're gonna get a North American title match. Ali is so underrated on the mic. Say what you will about Ethan Page. Say what I have about Ethan Page. He did a great job here. I'm looking forward to the match. How did you feel about it?
It's surreal. If you would have sat there and told me in 2 years that Mustafa Ali and Ethan Page would be in a WWE ring swapped sides. You have Ali, who is a 205 guy, a cruiserweight classic guy, a backbone of the WWE Cruiserweight division, no longer in NXT, no longer with WWE, one of the faces of TNA currently, probably one of their biggest heels that they have right now. And Ethan Page, a man who is a bit of a journeyman, born in TNA, part of one of TNA's greatest homegrown tag teams in the North, and a former AEW guy, now in NXT, one of NXT's greatest, most decorated wrestlers as well. This is a really good clash of styles. I really feel like that Mustafa and Ethan will have a really good match. Now, I don't honestly. I feel like it'd be pay per view quality. This could be a Bound for Glory match. I'm kind of wanting Ali to get that belt and take it over there to TNA so they can have a Bound for Glory match because Ali is in a bit of a space over there where he probably should be challenging for the world title, but because of the story that's going on right now, he's not looked at. So we probably need to give him that North American belt.
I would love that. And you know what I'd love about it is like he did the politician thing. He did the American thing. That was so funny. And if he takes the North American belt and then either leaves it Canadian or makes it another gimmick, calls it like, I mean, anything. There's so much creative freedom there. And Ali is such a creative star. I would love for him to come up with something just absolutely wild.
Do you know what's crazy is I think before he left, he was slated to challenge for the North American title. He was, I believe he was the number one contender for it. I might have to go back and look, but I believe he was the number one contender for the North American title before he left.
Absolutely. Wait, is that yeah, he wasn't he?
Yeah, because it was just before
that was the run he was on, and then he got cut.
Yep. So this is absolutely poetic as hell.
I would dig that. I mean, and you know what would actually be funny is, see, here's the problem is, I feel like because it's Ethan Page, he'll get cheered on NXT. And I'd prefer him to win it as a heel.
I don't know because I feel like Ethan Page is universally booed. I believe that he's probably one of those people that just can never get it. Him and MJF probably be fighting for who can get booed the most. I
think MJF.
I don't know. It's a tough one. I think he's equally hated across both companies. But it could happen. I don't know.
I mean,
this is the good in this whole thing. Like we've harped on how everything has been presented, how it's been rolled out, and everything. But this is the actual good of the partnership. You get good matches like this.
It's a very good point. And on that note, let's get right back to complaining because something I wanted to bring up before we talk to the next thing. Let's talk about Jordynne Grace really quickly because she was featured in multiple segments backstage, spoken to multiple times, directly addressed multiple times, and then name never called. Nowhere to be found. What's up with that, Drizzy?
Getting the biggest win since you joined the NXT women's roster and still nothing. Honest to God, Jordynne Grace is being disrespected right now, and I really do not like it one bit. This is one of the best women wrestlers in the world today, and this roster is so good. How you don't have her or include her in any of this is absolutely wild. I don't know if this is like something, but she's like, you know what, I did all this with TNA. I don't want to be involved in this angle. But this is your biggest star, one of your biggest stars. Like, we cannot. You know what? And that's a big reason why I think this isn't hitting for us is because some of the biggest stars are not involved in it. We are seeing Obafemi in this. We're not seeing Jordynne Grace in this. We're not seeing Blake Monroe in this. We're not seeing Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth in this. Yet they are just pushing invasion.
Where is Nick Nemeth? That is a great point.
There are no major stars.
No Blake Monroe. Where's Blake Monroe? Where did she go? Also, did you also notice that Jordynne Grace's hair grew back?
Oh, Clark.
Am I the only one that noticed that?
It teaches some stuff about women's hair.
I know that. I'm just saying. I know. You don't need to teach me. I'm just saying.
The curls are gone. The curls are gone. I did see a TikTok that she put up earlier where she sat there and pulled out one of the old school hair. She said the curls are coming back, but this is what I got to wear for right now.
I mean, listen, it's one of those things. Like you said, also Blake Monroe's absence is like noticeable, very
Like
noticeable.
these invasions don't work if you don't have your big stars.
Also, I think, and it was actually Kobe that pointed it out on the pre-show, but Alicia Fox yelling at Thea Hale in the parking lot,
Absolutely hilarious.
being the near side shot, was absolutely hilarious. But like, where's the payoff there? Never.
Right, we're not going to see a lot of these matches,
And
and I think that's what irritates me so much about this is because there are so many possibilities. We are like scratching just the bare minimal of this. We're not looking at true matchups. We're not looking to see Mance Warner versus Josh Briggs, which I'll take money. I'll pay money to see. We're not
every
gonna
day.
see. We're not gonna see Hank and Tank versus the Good Hands.
Nope.
I bet half you people don't even know who the Good Hands are. We're not gonna see Steve Macklin versus Brian Pillman Jr. Brian Pillman Jr. Lexus King. Like we're not gonna see there are a lot of crossover matches that we're not gonna get to see. That very well could put butts in seats.
And it's just an odd situation too. And that's where I think to finish out this show, just because we have a lot of time left. And look, there's just not a lot to cover on this, the way that things went down today. Let's talk about like what would you do, Driz, in this situation? How could we have resolved this one tonight in a way that was better than what we saw? Because truthfully, it just like, not to beat a dead horse, but it was a dodgeball pick 'em. And that was the whole show was built around that.
Knowing that we are going to have an invasion show, instead of having the captains be picked via your general manager saying, nah, the champions are all going to be champions. No, I feel like it needs to be true, just star on star action. No belts involved. So the beginning of this tonight should have been a men's battle royal, and maybe and at the end of the night a women's battle royal. The winner of those two get to pick. The winners of those battle royals get to pick who are going to be on your team. Get to be the captains. So whoever the last TNA guy is, and whoever the last men's NXT wrestler is, they're the captains. Same thing for the women, and then they pick their teams from there. That at least adds a little bit of suspense. It gives you a little bit of who is it, and then also I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't include the champions. So I definitely would not have Trick and Ricky Saints a part of it. I would have them have their own matches. Ricky Saints versus Trick Williams, and JC Jane versus Kalani Jordan.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's more exciting or anything, but I really feel like it also gives you a full scope of who's on each roster, the possibilities that could happen.
The only thing that I think is brutal about that one is then you have just 4 NXT talents wrestling representing TNA. And that's awful. And this is where I go back to this. You know, Santino Marella said last week that if they get a TV deal, they'll be the second biggest promotion in North America. And I know you're the TNA guy, Driz. But I saw this tonight. They were the second biggest promotion up against NXT. And in a weekly episode, that's the dumbest thing. The statement sounds so goofy after tonight's show. To me, you can't even, they want, if Ben's prediction about going to Wednesday nights on CW came true, they want no part of that. If this is what it looks like, they don't want anything to do with it. I would stay far, far away from Wednesday night if I was TNA based on the way tonight's show went, my friend. And that is because I want TNA to succeed. not because I don't want them to succeed. I want you to know that's where I'm coming from on this, Driz. But I would stay as on Thursday night as you can.
And I understand it 100% because tonight was not a good presentation of, and it hasn't been a good presentation of for a while now because they're getting beat every time they come into TNA. I mean, come into NXT. They're getting beat. Their biggest star is basically in their video packages. He might as well be on the roster at this point in time. Like it's hard to defend it.
Is it just me though, also, or does it feel like with the NXT sort of partnership that we've had, they just make like one TNA star look good for a week, and then they get him on the back end of the deal, right? Like they made Leon Slater look great this week.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But what's gonna happen next? Right now he's on Team TNA. How's he gonna look next time? Oh, I don't know. He's going to get his comeuppance, right? It feels like that happens every single time. It's been Mike Santana it happened with the Trick rivalry. It's happened with Joe Hendry, man. Yeah. It's happened with Joe Hendry, and he's not even on this team. He's not even on the men. Joe Hendry was April is not that long ago. It's not even October yet. It's only September 30th still. April's not that long ago. Joe Hendry was Mr. Viral. He wrestled Randy Orton at Mania. Oh my gosh, he's the next big star. This dude was in an advice segment 2/3 of the way through NXT tonight. He came out of like a fridge again. It's ridiculous to me what has happened there too. How do we fumble Joe Hendry? All we want to do is sing his song, but he has no rivals. There's no rival because we never capitalized on anything other than just the like gimmick and the character. He never actually had a dance partner that he could be opposite and have a rivalry with where we want to see him overcome the odds. We want to see him win. Yeah, he won the title, and then it was like, what now? And that's the hardest part for me is like, how is Joe Hendry not involved in this? I don't know. Talk to me about that, Driz.
Again, this is kind of like what we said about Jordan Gray. You have your biggest stars not involved in it, yet you have them on the TV, on weekly NXT TV. There's no Joe Hendry should have been captain. Like truly, one of your biggest stars. Like I literally said a little bit ago, these invasions do not work if you don't have your big stars. This is the reason why the WCW Alliance invasion didn't really work out. But when you see when NXT a few years, decades later, does it to the main roster, it's chock full of their main stars, and everybody wants to see it because you're seeing true dream matches. TNA has the stars to keep up with NXT, but they're not going to be able to do that if you do not allow those big stars to take up that space on NXT TV. Yes, you should have Mike Santana come up on somebody. You should have Joe Hendry come up on somebody. You should have the Inspiration beating somebody. You should have all these other TNA people getting their shine on NXT TV. That would be a true partnership in this. That would be that's the definition of a true partnership. When TNA goes over to NXT, they get to be the big stars. They get to be the big fish in the pond. They get to get their wins and everything. But it's not the same way when TNA comes over to NXT.
And here's the worst part to me. As much as we're back to beating the same dead horse here, but
yeah,
the dodgeball pick'em segment, the only gimmick on either roster, NXT or TNA, that fits perfectly is say his name and he appears. It's Joe Hendry, right? And
that, in fact, that could have been what started the brawl right there. Like my last pick, Joe Hendry, and then he pops up.
Yes.
And then here we go. Fight off to the right. In fact, that would be a fire way to start that.
That's all I can think of. Like, wait a minute. This is when is he going to pick Joe Hendry? Like, never. No way. And dude, the fact that we spent a whole podcast on this now twice. You and I, Ben, you owe me one on this. I've had to talk about this for 45 minutes more than I wanted to over the course of 2 shows because it's It's so frustrating, and it's not good for TNA. That's the worst part. I've got the biggest TNA fan in the world as my co-host right now, in Dryzzy. And you and I are both just like, and we both have covered NXT for 2+ years on this program. For 2+ years. Dude, tonight's Tuesday night, and I'm not trying to just like speak in hyperbole or be upset. I'm really, and people are all like, oh, he's whiny and Ricky Sainz and da-da-da. No, jokes aside, this was embarrassing. It really was. For a Tuesday night, Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler of all time. This was embarrassing. It was. Between what Santino said last week about the second biggest promotion in North America stuff and changing the name of the show and then the way it was booked and everything else, tonight's show was embarrassing. It really was, Driz. Like for both products.
Yes.
And that's sad to me. It bothers me.
Because NXT does not come out of this unscathed. They look like bullies.
They do. It's really frustrating actually too, because I'm such a fan of both products. Like I obviously understand, you know, I've made some jokes about Ricky Sainz of late and Blake Monroe and other NXT stars and whatnot. But Driz, you can attest, I've been on this program forever. I am an NXT fan in my heart of hearts. It doesn't look good on NXT. It doesn't look good on TNA. I'm a TNA fan as well. It doesn't look good on TNA. No Nick Nemeth. We can go down the litmus of it. I wish there was something. I wish there was something I could put my finger on to fix it. I'm also wondering, and not to keep hearkening back to what Ben said about the TV deal, if they thought that was the deal and it fell through, they were confident tonight was the night they're going to announce it and shoot, what do we do now? Because it felt a bit like that. You know?
I don't know. This is a tough one. I don't know if there's a way to save this right off the bat, but the follow-up to it has to be better than this initial beginning of it. The follow-up has to be stellar. I know Bound for Glory is coming. That's TNA's biggest show. That definitely has to be a flawless show, and we just have to get momentum off that. Both of these companies can benefit from this.
I think
they
so
just
too.
have to follow up.
It's Thursday night is actually going to be interesting, I think, at this stage. Because I mean, when is that being? Is that being taped Thursday? Is that a live show? It's probably not.
It was probably taped.
For,
I feel like it was taped this weekend, so it should be current.
I don't want any spoilers, but what I'm hoping is at least when it comes to the NXT crossovers, there tonight's addressed in some way. Because there's got to be somebody needs to explain. I think at this point, even if it's Santino, and I love Santino Marella. I feel like I've been trashing him on this show too, but like, dude, that wasn't second best promotion in North America. Like it just wasn't the way it went. We've got a bunch of comments here too. DCX Warlord with where's Wes Lee? Yeah, I don't know about that. That's an odd situation. Wesley, and then you got the Rascals over on TNA. You've got the crossover. I feel like you spent more time doing side quests with Wesley over the last year with his old partners than we've had anything else.
Shoot, that would have been something good to have on her just to revisit that again.
Anything, man. And it's so funny because obviously we had to change the name, but we also just had Throwback or whatever, the Homecoming. And, you know, we got a great Finn Balor entrance. We got all that kinds of stuff. I don't know if it's just me, but Driz, I think NXT needs some veteran talent that may be wallowing on the main roster to return. We had DIY, we had talent like that. We've had maybe even like a Natty Neidhart run, something like
Natty, Lyra.
Yeah, somebody to bring some of this talent.
Kyrie.
Kyrie
and something like that.
Rally the troops, fire things up, get it back on track. But this,
you know what? Even if AJ Styles get ready to go on his run, let AJ rep the TNA flag one last time before he calls it quits.
Could you imagine what the pop would have been like if they'd pick AJ? Well, honestly, that might have been the plan had he not volunteered on Twitter to wrestle John Cena.
Hey, the beating up John Cena is very tempting.
I hear it. I'm with it. You know, face that runs the place, right? No, but I will say I think Driz, that is going to bring us to the end of the show. Not to be such downers tonight. We still had
Yes,
a
we
lot
are
of
very.
fun.
This is very uncharacteristic of us
Yeah.
to bash a show like this.
We had a
But
lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we're hoping for better in the near future. There's no doubt about that. Definitely like and subscribe if you already haven't. Check out all the other shows, Grappling for Position, everything like that. Western Public Undercard will daily broadcast, the weekly podcast, all of the casts. Check them out. And thank you so much. Have a great rest of your Tuesday night. On behalf of me and Drizzy and everybody at WR, we'll talk to you soon.